Hello, and welcome to Wake Up with Wendy. My name is Wendy Kaplan, host and guide into helping you discover what's next for you, and maybe even helping you discover and take some action towards your next bold move. Today's show is about marketing yourself, your product, your service, what you do, and who you are, so others will want to buy it. It's a really unique way of promoting yourself out into the world. Many of us are at a time in our lives where we feel like we're at a transition or a turning point. These crossroads can be personal or professional. And in order to move through these to the next opportunity that awaits us, we need to be in action, doing the right things. Our guest today is Dr. Sharon Livingston. Sharon has interviewed over 60,000 consumers during her career about their emotional response to advertising. Companies like AT&T, Novartis, Whirlpool, Lipton, and American Express. She has a great story. And she's also interviewed famous people like Stephen Covey and Brian Tracy. Dr. Livingston has got a natural ear for sales, story, and psychology, which together pack a marketing wallop that you won't find elsewhere. We are very fortunate to have her today, and I'm excited to share her advice with you as to how to promote yourself. So thanks for being here, Sharon. I'm so psyched you're here.
That's great. Thank you, Wendy. It's really a pleasure.
So let's start just by getting people to know a little bit more about you. So tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been involved in marketing and marketing research since I was a sophomore in college, so that's like forever. And I was taking a motivational psychology course at the time. We had a choice of doing either a project in human resources or in marketing research, and I'd never heard of marketing research, so I thought that might be fun. And I did a study in the Queens College cafeteria where I was evaluating the memorability of symbols versus slogans. What do you think won?
Symbols.
Slogans.
No. Slogans, what do I know? Really?
And particularly singing slogans, musical slogans.
Of course.
Because it's hitting on two different, levels, what you see and what you hear,
right.
and the music, right? And then I was hooked. I thought that was the most interesting thing, and I got a job. I've always been a workaholic. You know I'm a workaholic, but I started way back then. So I was going to school during the day, and I was working in a marketing research company at night. And I was on the road to becoming a psychologist. I've been wanting to be a psychologist since I was 13 years old. And so to put myself through school, I paid my whole way through school, undergraduate, my master's, and then my PhD.
Good for you. That's amazing.
Finally.
Yeah.
But I paid for school by doing marketing and marketing research. So that's how I got started, and I, got to work for large corporations and became what's called a focus group moderator.
Say a little bit about what that is for people who don't know.
So large corporations, like Fortune 500 companies, bring consumers into a front room, and a consumer could also be a professional like a doctor or a lawyer or, leadership coaches, whatever, because they have some kind of product they want to sell to them.
Right.
But they need to understand what their wants and needs are and what gets them excited, so they can tell them, what it is. And I was really, really fortunate. I got to work on all kinds of fascinating things, like I know the personality of the Chips Ahoy cookie, because we did a huge, huge project to understand people's relationship with Chips Ahoy.
Really?
And it's different than the Keebler Elf. It really is different. It's different. And then we do more serious things like adjunctive therapy for breast cancer, and there are two different major players out there, and they're different. They're different in the way doctors respond to them. They're different in the way patients respond to them. They have different personalities, and so I help companies, and I've been doing this, for over 20 years, helping them to identify the kinds of messages that are compelling, appealing, and relevant to different people.
To the consumer, so people will buy more of whatever it is being sold.
Right.
So I think one of the things you said to me earlier is the work that you do helps to raise an emotional attachment or an emotional connection
Yeah.
To the product or service, which
Right.
is why we all buy stuff.
Right.
Every woman knows that, right?
Well, and every marketer who's done any studying knows that, actually. And what's interesting is that brands really represent a kind of relationship, and there are different types of relationships. And whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand. Right. So even if you pretend that you don't, your audience, your prospects, your customers
sees you in a certain light.
Exactly.
Right. So through the media now, I hear, rebrand yourself or looking to reinvent your personal brand. We had a guest on a few months ago who talked about rebranding. Mm-hmm. So you're very much along the same lines in the work that you do, is identifying what your brand is, so then you can promote it in a stronger way. Yeah. For your audience.
Right. And, like, for example, if you wanted to be a particular type of brand, but people see you differently, then you're going to be at odds with yourself. But if you know what people want, and you know what you have to offer, and you know that connection, then you can make a very powerful relationship. Yes. And one that can be sustainable, so that you can maintain. So the more you know about what people want and how you can give it to them and how you can tell your story in a warm, authentic, passionate way, passionate about what you have to say, the better you do.
So what we're going to talk about today is the work that you do now to help individuals regarding telling their story so that they can promote themselves stronger,
right,
and more aligned with what they want and the kind of business they want to attract. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell a couple of stories or give us a story about someone that you've worked with?
Yeah, and so the way that I segued into this market, which is a really wonderful market, my husband, Glenn, he does internet marketing support. He teaches people how to find out what the wants and needs are. This is for very small businesses, small to medium businesses. So he's I'm a large corporation consultant, yes, and he's a small business guru, yes, on the internet. And so he's got many followers and many students, and there have been a number of them where you say, Sharon, would you take a look and would you give, Ryan or Tom or, Yohav your opinion on what you see? And so I would. And then I would say, Glenn, they could warm it up a little bit. Why don't we do an interview? Because what Glenn and I do is we do audio interviews and video interviews that he puts up on his sites. Mm-hmm. And he's like this brainiac, and he goes off into hyperspace in technical jargon. And so I act as the voice of the consumer, and I'll say to him, honey, I understand, all the differential equation and the regression to the mean, I think, but could you say that in English so that if somebody like me is listening to this, so they really, right. So I'll joke him out of his, academic position, and people have loved these audios and videos. And so I've been saying to him, do you think Ryan might like it if I did an audio with him? Yes. So I'm thinking about this one person, Ryan. Another brilliant scientist, neuroscientist, who's created a memory program to help people improve their memory. It's a very cool program. It's terrific. He looks like he's about 18 years old. He's someplace in his 30s, but he looks like he's about 18. Many of the people who are coming are like in their 40s and 50s. Mm-hmm. They're very often people who are deciding to go back to college, and they need a memory bump. But here's this, young kid, yeah, looking, yeah, who's telling him all the science of it, and it comes across a little bit over the top, heady. So I interviewed him, and we created this audio that he added to his website. where now he's telling his story about how he got involved in this, what it meant to him, what his own personal struggle was, and it warms it up.
And it makes him much more approachable.
Exactly.
Really, so people will come more to him.
Right. And instead of being kind of stiff and stilted, he sounds human, and he's joking, and it's fun.
So anybody can do this. So you don't have to be a neuroscientist, right? You can really have any business or product. And this is a service that you are doing for other people.
Yes.
Right? So if the right kind of person that would come to you or that you would do work for would be, what would be sort of the criteria that they would want to be thinking about?
Well, perhaps they have a website. Ideally, this works very well on a website, but they could also be making an audio or a video that they could
email. You do with them.
That I do with them.
Right.
That they would be emailed out, or you could hand like a little audio business card.
Yes, I've seen those, yeah.
Or you can hand a DVD with your story on it.
Yeah.
So that at their leisure, you make it short, like 3 minutes or, 5 minutes, some short thing. And it becomes a way of telling your story in a very warm way. And the reason that the interview situation works so much, look, you're asking me about what I do, and we get animated when we tell our own story. But, it's like if you write your own resume, well, my name is Sharon Livingston, and I did this, and I did that, and I did it. It's like, that's boring.
Right. This jazzes it a little bit.
It jazzes it a lot.
Yeah.
People, when someone very interested in identifying your passion invites you out, you come across with warmth and authenticity. When someone who is trained to look for features and benefits and emotional end benefits is drawing those out, you can...
I think it's great. I think it's great. Well, we're going to show this in a minute, but we did a little experiment together. Well, it was an experiment for you.
With my flip camera.
Which was great. And we're going to show that so people get a sense of what one of these might actually look like. But while you were talking, especially when you said about the resume, I was thinking about, I work with so many people who are in a transition in their lives professionally, and they've been doing the same work for so many years, and it's not that they're bored, but they're asking themselves, isn't there something more? I could do something else. And so they're looking for the next career. And I could see this as being a product to help people talk about their strengths and their background and use it as, instead of just, submitting a resume.
Yes.
It could be, it would definitely brand them and make them stand out in the marketplace by having something like this, where they talked about their background and experience.
Right.
I think that would just...
Isn't that awesome?
It could complement their resume and their career package.
Or, they send a nice DVD with a nice picture on it.
Yeah.
They put it in a pretty box.
I think that's a great...
And they have it FedEx to somebody.
Unique marketing move.
Right.
So let's, Pete, if you could load up the video that we have of Sharon interviewing me so people can have a sense of how this actually works. And we'll get to see that in just a second.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Sharon Livingston, and I'm here with my guest, Wendy Kaplan, but Wake Up with Wendy. And so Wendy, tell me about Wake Up with Wendy, and first of all, what is Wake Up with Wendy? It's a local Massachusetts cable television show that's been running for about a year and a half. And it's to help people who are in a transition point in their lives or their process, help them to figure out what's next for them. So it could be personal transition or professional crossroads. And we have guests that help give advice and resources and stories really that inspire people to make their own next bold move. And so, how was Wake Up with Wendy a bold move for Wendy? Well, it was really a dream I had from when I was little and on our local Boston television children's show, many years ago. What was that? It was Bozo the Clown. Bozo the Clown. People in Boston who are old or older, Bozo was a great children's television show where they had this clown that did all sorts of things, and they had a live television audience. Channel 5 has a studio still in Needham, and they had a live television audience. And my parents got tickets, and we ended up being in the television audience.
So you were at the Magic Party summer retreat, and
It was the theme for the retreat was having your dreams come true, identifying what your dreams are and having them come
goodness.
true.
Uh-huh.
And I thought I would work with the TV thing because I've always had this desire to do something with television, but no experience, no connections, no nothing really. And so I declared out loud in front of 25 other women that within a year I was going to have a TV show.
oh my goodness.
And I
Oh my goodness.
just had no idea how to do it or whatever. So it came from declaring a dream and deciding I was going to do something about it. And by saying it out loud there, one of the women at the Magic Party's retreat was going to be on someone else's cable television show as a guest for an interview. And she said to me, why don't you come and observe and see what you think about it? And maybe it'll help your dream somehow.
What I wish is for everybody is to take the opportunity to step back and think, what is it that I'm doing now? You know, what it reminds me of a little bit is it's totally different thing, but like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And like, why does somebody have to be a child who's in danger of losing their life in order to make a wish?
So true.
And so and that's how I see Wake Up with Wendy, which is inviting people to have a wish, to identify what it is, and to see how they could bring it into their life. And I think it's very inspiring. And I applaud you. I think it's really terrific.
I hope so. I hope it makes it my purpose and my reason for doing this to make a difference in people's lives.
Well, now everybody got to see a little example of how this works. And from being on the other side of the interview, it was comfortable, easy. Really, it was just two people chatting.
Right.
And
Like here.
Like here.
Like, this is so comfortable.
Well, that's good.
Well, that's because you're a good interviewer.
But it was simple to do, and the edited, we talked for a lot longer, and it got edited down.
Right. Well, I think we had 17 minutes, and that's 3.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't take a lot of time to do this for people. A lot of people think, oh, I could never be on camera, but it was a little flip video camera.
Neither one of us even combed our hair.
That's true. It's true. We just sort of showed up. And I think it's a wonderful way to market yourself. So talk about some ways in which you could imagine someone, once they did something like this for themselves, because you could do, if you wanted to do an unprofessional version, I would not recommend this, but you could do it at home with a friend who could interview you. But if you wanted something more professional, for those people who are in a business or really want to promote themselves in a professional way, I don't recommend you do this at home. I recommend you do it a little more professionally. And so what could you do with this, having a video now?
Well, everybody now has some kind of a website. And one of the things that's very exciting at the moment about doing little videos is that Google will push you up in search engine optimization if you have a video.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So if you have, we're going to put this on your website.
Right.
And that will make it more likely when they're searching for the keywords associated with your website that you will get onto the front page.
Interesting.
So it's a huge deal to do.
That is a huge advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. You put it up onto YouTube, so people will find you.
Yeah.
If we did just an audio interview, which we could also do, you put it on iTunes, gets distributed that way. You burn them and you distribute them to whomever. Let's say, for example, you wanted to do some kind of public speaking in your area about your coaching or about the magic parties.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you can send this to people and say, here's just a little clip to give you a sense of who I am and what I'd like to do for you. And, can we make an appointment? It'll take you just like 3 minutes to watch on your computer.
That's
or
great.
take it home and stick it in your, DVD player. So there are many different ways. And if you notice what happened in the clip was, first of all, it was very engaging. You came to life telling your story because stories are hypnotic.
Yes.
And they kind of, they draw us in and they help to communicate the excitement.
Right.
Right.
And what was interesting, so we've talked about this a number of times, at the beginning, in the first few minutes when you started interviewing me, I was stiff, you know, just not animated. I think I was nervous.
Of course.
And even though I'm on TV and in my work, I'm in front of groups all the time.
It's different.
I don't know, it was a little different.
It's different.
And what I noticed, and if you had asked me, like before we started, was I nervous? I probably would have said, not really.
Right.
But it looked like I was nervous
Right.
and stiff. But once, I could see the huge difference after we got started, and that's really what you want to promote.
You want to
is
get
that,
the sparkle.
Right, is that part of who we each are, so that we can attract others
And connect.
and connect.
It makes for a much deeper connection, and you know, to hear you with Bozo the clown and stuff. I mean, it makes you so human and
Right.
so like I wanted to give you a hug, right? And we talked about it helping people to move towards their next bold move,
Right.
and that was the purpose of the show.
Right.
And then we ended it with the idea of making a wish.
Yes,
And there's that emotional benefit
yeah,
of the hope to get your wish come true.
yeah.
And that's an emotion, I think, that you draw from us with the show. It's that you give us hope about how we're going to get there. You know, it's always risky to make a change, and it ties it all together.
Well, I think for most of us, we have these things we dream about. And some of the things we say out loud, and some we just keep to ourselves. You know, it's funny, I volunteer at the local hospital, and today was volunteer day before I came here. And there was a woman who came to the front desk, and I don't know how we started talking about dreams and wishes. It might be an occupational hazard of mine, but she was saying how she was watching a Knicks game, and somehow during, I don't remember when it was, the beginning, the end, in the middle, there are a group of people who hip hop. There's a name to them. It's over, I can't remember, some really catchy name. And she wants to start something like that for the Boston Celtics.
Oh, how
So
fun.
Beverly, I hope I'm not wrecking your opportunity here. So she was talking about her idea, and she's been thinking about this for a while, but she doesn't know where to start. And I thought, I gave her some ideas to get going. But everybody has got some wish, and to be able to promote it and get it out there,
Yep.
especially nowadays where there's YouTube and there's Facebook and there's LinkedIn, there's and websites.
Absolutely.
There's just so many ways to get your message out.
On your blog, you can create,
Right.
and everyone can create a blog.
Right.
And then, I mean, the whole idea that you have something that you could hand to someone and let them view it and to tell the story
Yes.
in this hypnotic, exciting
Yes.
manner.
Way can only help.
Yes.
For sure. So one of the things you said to me, I'm just trying to pull it out, is you had 3 tips, essential tips. So Pete, that's that clip that you have, that slide, on how to give people ideas for their website. So 3 essentials, how to sell from your website.
And from any marketing communication.
And any. So the first one is engage your prospects. So can you say a little bit about that?
Well, the way that we engage each other is through warmth and authenticity. Hi, my name is Sharon Livingston. I'm a psychologist. I mean, who's going to want to talk to me?
Right.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, people who move in and show sincere interest. And if it's not sincere, don't bother.
Yes.
But if you have sincere warmth and you can be authentic
And one way of being authentic and sincere and warm is to have this kind of a video clip as part of your website.
Absolutely.
And that's a way to engage your prospects.
Yes.
One of many ways to engage your
Yes.
prospects in your website,
Yes.
right? And so the second one, let's see if I can remember, is hit the right features, benefits, and emotional hot buttons. So you want to talk about that?
So what specifically are the aspects of your product or service? What are the features? What are the benefits of this feature? So a feature is that I will personally interview you. What's the benefit of that? I can help you be warm and authentic.
Right.
And what are the emotional benefits? Your viewers will feel attached and feel a relationship and want to continue and maintain this relationship because it makes them feel good about themselves.
Right. And the third step, or the third thing to do, is tell your story, which is what we've been talking about all along. It's really important in all different ways to tell your story.
We come from a tradition of storytelling.
So true.
And the research shows that people who communicate by telling a story are much more engaging. It's much more compelling, hypnotic. You know, we go in and out of hypnosis all day long, in and out of trance all day long. We get sold to all the time on the radio.
Sure.
We're driving because it lulls us into this kind of alpha hypnotic state when we're very, very impressionable.
Yes.
And when we tell stories, I mean, it's good to go into that state because it's a way that we change our perceptions about things.
Yes.
And we can help other people by telling a good story.
Well, I go to a lot of conferences and workshops, part of my work, and I may not remember what the person said, but I always remember the story that they've told.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And so I think all of us could
I
do
will
a better
always
job.
remember Bozo the Clown.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And so I think I really appreciate your being able to share with us what you do. I'm really hoping that people will take advantage of your service. Let's say how people can reach you so that people can
Sure.
contact
The
you.
best way is to call me on my cell phone, and I'm very good at, I told you, I'm 24/7 girl.
So you want to give out your cell phone number on television?
It's really fine.
Okay.
It's area code 603-505-5000. You believe I got that as a cell phone?
I know, you're so lucky.
I love it.
And your website for people to go and look at your work?
If they'd like to see a little of the work I've done for large corporations,
Yes.
we're still developing the...
Personal branding, smaller.
right.
Yes.
It's TLG,
The
that stands
Livingston Group.
for TLGonline.com.
Great. Very great. Well, is there something as we're closing today that you'd like to leave our viewers with a message?
The most important thing is to have someone help you draw out your passion about whatever it is you want to sell, including if you want to present yourself in a resume, and I think that's a really fantastic thing to do. Everything is going video these days. The things that are going on the internet, people are taking these long sales letters and they're turning them into videos because people pay attention to them.
Yes.
So identify your passion, tell a story, and if you can, turn it into a video.
That's great. Thank you so much. So today you had a chance to hear Dr. Sharon Livingston's advice and her story, and I'm hoping it gave you some kind of inspiration and maybe even ignited you into some action that can help promote you or your business. Thank you so much for joining us today. And in addition to the resources that Dr. Sharon shared with us, you can also go online to our website and join our community for some free support and inspiration. Our website is www.themagicparties.com, where you will find everything you need to help you figure out what's next and what might be your next bold move. A big thank you again today to Sharon for being with us, and thanks to Pete and Roger who make our show possible. And thanks to you, our listeners. You are meant to go forth in the world to use your gifts and your talents and have a little fun exploring what's next inside of you waiting to burst forth. And join us next time as we continue to help you wake up to what's next for you.